This is your rapid rundown for Patrician Towers of Influence. Powerful patrician families have hired master builders like you to build magnificent towers across cities in medieval Italy. Throughout the game, you will play cards, stack towers, and claim new cards. Along the way, you'll score cities and create sets of patrician portraits, all of which earn you prestige points. In the end, the player with the most points wins. To set up Patrician Towers of Influence, place the board in the middle of the table using the side that matches the number of players. If you're playing with 5 players, use this side showing Pistoia. If you're playing with less than 5 players, use this side of the board instead and return all the orange cards and prestige tokens to the box. Place 2 prestige tokens numbers side up on their spots next to each city. Next, set up the building cards. Separate out the cards with this star symbol in the corner and shuffle them. Deal 3 of the star cards to each player to form their starting hands. Shuffle all remaining star cards with the rest of the cards into a face-down draw pile near the board. Draw and place 1 card in each city's space. Players each choose a color and take all the tower pieces of that color. Finally, choose a starting player and setup is complete. On your turn, you'll take 4 actions. Play a card, place tower pieces, take a card, and refill the empty card space. First, choose a card in your hand and play it face up in front of you, putting it on top of any you've already played. Second, place tower pieces on building sites in the city matching the card you played. If the card shows 1 crest, place 1 tower. If it shows 2 crests, place 2. You can place tower pieces in either building site, and you can stack tower pieces onto existing ones of any color, yours or opponent's. This value shows the total number of floors allowed in the city, 5, 7, or 9. Both building sites in a city must have at least 1 tower piece. The third action on your turn is to take the card from the city where you placed tower pieces. If it's late in the game and your city doesn't have a card next to it, take a card from any city. And if there are no more cards anywhere on the board, you don't get one. Your fourth and final action is to replace the card you just took with one from the draw pile. When the draw pile's empty, skip this action. Some building cards feature an optional special action. This icon means that after you place tower pieces, choose a different city and move the top tower piece from one building site to the other. This icon means that when you take a card in your third action, you can take any building card on the board. Let's talk about earning points. When a city has tower pieces equal to the value in its crest, you score it. The player with the most floors on the taller tower takes the city's higher prestige token. The player with the most floors on the shorter tower takes the city's smaller prestige token. Everyone else gets no points. Ties go to the player with the floor closest to the top. The game ends when everyone has played all the cards in their hand and all the cities have scored. Then it's time for final scoring. Sort your played cards by their patrician portraits. Each set of 3 matching portraits earns you 6 points. Add your points from portrait sets and prestige tokens to get your final score, and the player with the highest total wins the game. If there's a tie, the tied player with the fewest tower pieces on the board is the winner. If there's still a tie, the tied players share the victory. In a 2-player game, you and another player will have to contend with the Architetto, a dummy player who will mess with your plans. During setup, set the red tower pieces aside as the Architetto's pieces. Draw the top 3 cards and place them face down next to the red pieces without looking at them. These will be revealed later. During the game, the Architetto activates after a player if they play a building card that shows 2 crests. To activate the Architetto, reveal the top card from the draw pile and place red tower pieces based on the crests shown. The Architetto's tower pieces must always be placed in a way that can provide the maximum points to the Architetto. Discard the Architetto's cards into their own discard pile. When a city is scored, the Architetto gains prestige tokens the same way as players. After both players have played all their cards, reveal each of the Architetto's 3 hidden building cards one at a time and place red towers in the matching cities. During final scoring, the Architetto gets points from their prestige tokens and every set of 3 matching portraits in their discard pile. Patrician Towers of Influence also includes 2 optional advanced modules. These add additional strategy and new ways to score. The first advanced module is called Trade Routes. During setup, everyone gets trade route markers. 2 in a 2 or 3 player game, or 1 in a 4 or 5 player game. Set these double-sided bonus prestige tokens near the board for use during final scoring. Anytime you play a card that shows a star icon, you may choose to place your trade route marker on the board, choosing either the trader side or the bandit side, and pointing to cities other than where you just added tower pieces. When you score towers in a city with trade route markers pointing to it, you take bonus prestige tokens, either on the +1 or -1 side, based on the markers. These will be added to or subtracted from your score during final scoring. The second advanced module is called the Delegates. During setup, set aside the 3 minor delegate cards and 1 major delegates card for use at the end of the game. During final scoring, players are awarded delegates cards based on the prestige tokens they earned during the game. For the minor delegates cards, the player with the most 2, 4, and 6-point tokens gains the respective delegates cards. In the case of a tie, the player who owns the token shown in the leftmost spot on the card gains it. The owner of each minor delegate card gains 1 additional Patrician portrait of their choice toward making a set. The player who has the highest point total for the cities of Verona, Parma, and Ferrara gains the major delegates card. In the case of a tie, the player who has the highest point total for Verona gains it. The owner of the major delegates card gains 1 additional Patrician portrait of each type toward making sets. This has been your rapid rundown for Patrician Towers of Influence. Thank you for watching.